Welcome back to the channel, guys. We got Jabs and Dabs coming at you with another week of fights. This weekend we got Bellator 277, which is arguably the bigger event than the UFC Vegas 51 this weekend. But first we're going to recap last weekend. Pretty good, pretty great night of fights, you know.
It was really fun.
The main event was a bit of a beatdown, but everything before that was just close, good, grueling.
A beatdown that we predicted.
Yes.
Especially you.
Yes.
I had my doubts at first, but you came through on that one.
Well, it wasn't that hard of a decision, so don't know if you can give me all the credit there.
Well, Volkanovski just looked amazing.
He just looked way better than he's ever looked before. Just getting faster. He really impressed me. Yeah. Zombie did not look like he belonged there.
No, poor Zombie. Wrong time, wrong channel, wrong day.
Yeah.
It wasn't good for him at all.
So we both finished the week pretty well.
So how'd you do?
7-2.
7-2.
He went 6-3. I only lost the Torres fight, which honestly I thought Torres won. Mackenzie Dern, she had an amazing second round, but I thought Torres controlled the first and the third.
Right.
But I'll take my L, and then I picked Peter Yan. Again, could have gone either way. I'm much happier that Aljo won. Ruined my pick, but it's all good.
Did you see Dana thought that Yan won
when
the
he
first
read
round?
the scorecards off.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Dana gave a look of disgust. But.
Right. Well, and then he said publicly that he thought it was 3-2 rounds.
Yeah, in the
for
post-fight presser.
Yeah.
But
Aljo didn't take that nicely.
No, he on Twitter said he wanted to have a convo with Dana, but he went 6-3. It was one of your better weeks.
Yeah, my three were Gall, Pichel, and
Kay Hansen, who just got released from the UFC.
I seem to pick people who then get released.
Yeah, he was a big Chase Sherman guy over here.
Also got released, and we're never going to say the H word on this program either.
The H word?
Hunsucker.
Oh, don't even get me started on Harry Hunsucker.
Oh, God, no. Harry Hunsucker, right. But I seem to have a knack for picking people who then get released.
Yeah, you do a pretty decent job of that.
I should have a prediction of the new releases from the organization.
Jump into this weekend. We have Bellator 277 taking place on Friday. I do believe that's going to be the bigger card of the week. You know, we got the McKee Pitbull rematch here. And the first fight didn't even... Well, we'll get to that. We'll start at the bottom with that. I'm not going to go through every single fight here as we're but breaking down both events. Going to kind of pick and choose as we go along. But first one we're going to start with is Kyle Crutchmer versus Michael Lombardo, the Don. Crutchmer is 9-1, Lombardo 12-2. Both have winning streaks coming into this. Crutchmer on a 2-fight win streak and Lombardo on a 3-fight. And Crutchmer's coming in as the -250 favorite here.
Right.
So I'm leaning towards Crutchmer here. Big fan of him. Lombardo. I don't know much about both of these guys. I will say Lombardo fought in the PFL. He had a win on the Contender Series, so obviously he's no joke. He lost to Daukaus in the Contender Series, though. But
a decision.
Yeah. He's never been finished. Doesn't look like he finishes a lot of people, though. A lot of decisions.
No. Yeah.
Actually finished a fight in the PFL by leg kicks. That's
interesting.
Yeah. Crutchmer is going to have the size disadvantage here, but I really think that he can pull through with his wrestling and just his toughness.
Well, I'm going with Lombardo because, I think it could go either way, but I like Lombardo on paper and the fact that he does have a height and reach advantage, and he goes to decision with that height and reach advantage.
Yeah.
He's not going to knock you out, but the fact that he can go the distance all the time, and he has the size advantage. To me, that's a good combo.
Well, Crutchmer is also a decision machine. He only has one finish in his time in Bellator. He's 4-1 in Bellator. I like the fact that he's already fought there before. He has the experience there. This is going to be Lombardo's Bellator debut. And yeah, he has decent wins in Bellator. Oliver Enkamp is a very good fighter. And he beat a 9-0 Levon Chakeli. Never heard of him, but
9-0.
9-0 in Bellator.
Yeah, he has some good wins. I mean, his opponents' records stack up. I just, because of the size, I'm going to go with Lombardo because I think the odds don't say so, but I think they're a little bit more even.
Yeah, no, the odds are definitely
what Vegas says. And if it was reversed, if Kretschmeyer was the 6-0 with the 72-inch reach, I'd probably go with him.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go with that.
The odds are definitely a bit wide on this one. I would give
so.
Kretschmer the advantage, but minus 250. Saying he's almost 2.5 to 1 favorite. That's a little much for my liking, so I won't be placing a bet here. Might include him in a couple of parlays, just win by decision.
Right.
But yeah, so moving on, we have Tyrell Fortune versus Rakeem Cleveland. Rakeem Cleveland is 22-14-1, making his Bellator debut here, I believe. He may have had... Okay, so he had one Bellator fight before this. He lost in the first round. We have Kimura to Steve Mowry. He's also had experience in the PFL where he went 1-4. So he's a good regional fighter. Don't know if he's a big show guy, and the odds are reflected in that as they have Tyrell Fortune at a minus 600 favorite.
Huge favorite.
11-2, coming off a loss to Tim Johnson.
Yeah.
Or no, to Vadim Nemkov, but he also has a loss to Tim Johnson. But yeah, I think Tyrell Fortune in his wrestling, I think he can get it done here and stop the boogeyman, King Cleveland.
I ditto you on that. I don't have anything different to say.
Switched your pickup?
Yeah, I mean, I was initially leaning to Cleveland, but that was very tentative and, looking at things at first. But, everything you said just makes sense. And going that way.
So, next up...
We do disagree on this one.
Yes, this is the first fight where it's pretty even spread. It's almost a pick-em, minus 150 in favor of Linton Vassell. But he'll be taking on Tim Johnson here in a battle of the heavyweights in Bellator. Vassell is a former light heavyweight champion. Moved up to heavyweight a while ago, and I think that's his natural fit. I think he looks a lot better at heavyweight. Tim Johnson always been a heavyweight, former UFC guy. So obviously has the size advantage weight-wise here, weighing at close to the max of 265, where Vassell usually weighs in around 235 to 245. Vassell is going to have the striking advantage here, in my opinion. And the reach advantage, 82-inch reach. That's huge at 6'4".
Yeah.
And I think Linton Vassell is coming off of a split over Tyrell Fortune. He's on a 3-fight win streak. I mean, his losses have all come to the top of the top in Bellator. Valentin Moldavsky, Phil Davis, who dominated him, which, I don't know, you don't see Phil Davis knock too many people out, but I think after that he realized it was time to move to heavyweight, and he's looked a lot better there, beating guys like Sergey Kartov.
But didn't Johnson also beat Fortune?
Johnson also has a win over Fortune, but he's on a 2-fight losing streak right now.
Yeah.
Just got knocked out by Fedor in the first round in Russia back in October of last year. Obviously it's Fedor, but Fedor hadn't fought in almost 2 years. I mean...
Was it that long?
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that it was kind of washed. His recent wins have been over Quentin Jackson, a blown-up 185er, Chael Sonnen, a blown-up 185er, and Frank Mir at the end of his career.
Right.
And he has losses in 35 seconds to Bader and a minute to Matt Mitrione, which is not a good loss.
No, that's not good.
Tim Johnson just came in there. He looked timid, looked phased by the moment.
Yeah, I'm still going with him.
Don't got much reasoning, but
I just like him for this. I mean, to me, like you said, it's a pick 'em, and I'm picking him.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing to me screams either one. obviously I can see anybody picking Vassell. So, but I'm just going to go with Johnson.
So next up on the Bellator card, we have Aaron Pico and Adley Edwards. This is a last-minute replacement fight for Adley Edwards coming in. I think he had a fight like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting to see how he can come in because he peaked for that fight, and only 2 weeks after he's going to have to try and peak again.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But he's a very tough guy, good wrestling, decent BJJ, you know. Good pressure, but he's coming in here as a huge underdog, plus 500. 8-1 favorite for Aaron Pico here.
Yeah.
He was supposed to fight Jeremy Kennedy, but Kennedy seems to be running scared from Pico as they've tried to make this match a couple of times and
he keeps bailing.
But Pico has looked like a world beater these past couple of fights after that 2-fight skid to Corrales and got knocked out cold. But he does have a tendency to leave his chin up in the air. He has huge punching power.
He does.
But I don't know.
Hopefully the chin will stay down.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Pico here. I mean, don't think it's much of a decision. They're both on 5-fight win streaks, and
yeah,
I think.
I'm with Pico too, but it's Corrales really knocked his lights out.
That was a long time ago.
It was.
Pico's learned from that. He's had the whole camp to prepare for this. I mean,
that's true.
Adley Edwards coming in on 2 weeks' notice after a fight. You don't know. It could either be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah. But I think the odds are good on this. They're right. They're correct. Yeah.
So next up, we have the first of 2 title fights here on Bellator 277. Vadim Nemkov versus Corey Anderson. This is a big one here. This is right up there with the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship next month for who's the best light heavyweight in the world. As you know, Corey Anderson holds a win over Glover Teixeira and a knockout win over Jan Blachowicz.
Right.
So, I mean, you insert him into the top of the UFC division, I think he's right up there with them. And Vadim Nemkov is a scary, scary fighter, you know. He has that quick head kicks, and Corey Anderson said he's going to avoid that. You can see him coming, but I don't know if you can, because Nemkov seems to hit a lot of guys with those head kicks, and he definitely has a claim for the #1 light heavyweight in the world right now if he can beat Corey Anderson.
Right.
After all that he's done in Bellator. He does have a loss to Yuri Prohaska, but, I think you put them in there 10 times, you could get a different result every time.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lean Corey Anderson on this one. I like his wrestling. Nemkov has that Sambo background and trains with the Russian national team, but I think Corey Anderson can overwhelm him with his wrestling. If Corey Anderson gets into half guard, he's going to rain down heavy ground and pound.
Right.
On the feet, I think Anderson himself might have even said that Nemkov had the advantage, but Anderson is no slouch on his feet, possesses good power, as we saw from that Blachowicz knockout, and I think he can get the job done whether it stays on his feet or obviously if it goes to the ground. I favor Anderson.
Yeah.
And Anderson is a plus 155 dog here, which I really like.
Yeah. For the bets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Anderson too. I mean, obviously, Nemkov is dangerous, but I think you're right. I think all around Corey can probably do this. Anderson can do it.
Corey's just coming off the first round just knockout of Ryan Bader, just absolute annihilation. 50 seconds in.
Yeah. That was ugly.
Yeah, and Nemkov, he also has a win over Bader, head kick in round 2, and he's beaten Phil Davis twice, and he just beat Julius Anglickas in the tournament. But that was a fight where Anglickas rocked him in the first or second.
Yeah.
Before he was able to turn it around in the later rounds. And he does have a loss to Yuri, like I said earlier, but it was retirement, 10-minute rounds, a lot different than how they fight.
And he lost to Carl
Yeah.
Albertson, the Swede.
Yeah. Oh, is that who you were talking about earlier that you saw Yuri fight? Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he was just piecing Yuri up, but Yuri got a stand-up left uppercut.
Yeah, Yuri's just a brawler, just eats shots to give shots.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm leaning towards Anderson on this one. Obviously, it could go either way.
I know you're leaning. I may still think about it.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
It could go either way.
Yeah, what did we say, 155 to 190? It's probably close to a pick'em, but I don't know.
Well, Nemkov is almost a 2-1 favorite. And I think,
is it 2-1?
Well, yeah. Minus 190.
190, okay. I don't know. I guess I should make these decisions, but Nemkov is...
It's a hard one.
It is. So, I don't know. Maybe when we wrap up, I'll make a final decision.
Okay. Yeah, so... Obviously, the main event, AJ McKee versus Patricio Pitbull 2. I mean, obviously we saw McKee just absolutely dominate Pitbull.
Right.
In July of last year. I mean, Pitbull... I don't know how to feel about Pitbull right now. His last couple fights, he's looked to play it safe. Been a little bit timid, I think AJ McKee also came out timid in that fight. And
that's what I was going to say. I got the impression that he looked surprised when...
Yeah, well, when he knocked him down, you saw he throw his hands up without the ref even standing in. That's just a sign of nerves. Obviously, he was able to jump in and finish it off with the guillotine choke, but the fact that he dropped him and then just walked away like he won without anybody... I don't know, I think the nerves were getting to him, but...
Right.
It was literally the first encounter of that round that dropped him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were kind of pacing around. Pitbull really just... looked... I don't know if timid's the right word, but that's the word that just keeps coming to my mind, is he just didn't look ready. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if he comes into this fight looking as timid and not ready as he did in July... Was it July?
Yeah.
Pitbull's gonna lose again, but I don't think he will.
No,
I think he's too much of an experienced, scrappy guy to make that mistake again, and that's why I'm sort of going with him because of that. But if he does go into this exact same way he did last summer, then I'll be horribly disappointed.
Yeah. And I think he knows he can't go in there like that.
It's going to have to be different.
He gave up his 155-pound title just to focus on this rematch. Yeah. So you can tell he's putting everything he has into it. And
that's why I'm going with him.
Yeah, but I think...
Even on paper, McKee probably looks better.
I think Pitbull is kind of on the downfall, and McKee is on the uprise. So I'm going to lean McKee here. He's minus 275 favorite. And 18-0. I mean, he's Bellator's guy. He's he's the face of their organization right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
And I think he just has it, man. I
just think Pitbull's gonna just stop it all in the Bellator tracks here.
Well, it's going to be hard for Pitbull to get in because McKee has a 74-inch reach, whereas Pitbull only has 65-inch reach. So he has a full 9 inches of reach advantage at featherweight. That's almost unheard of. I mean, McKee is just so long and rangy at featherweight, and Pitbull needs to get inside, and I'm just not sure if he can get there.
Okay.
It
won't be easy.
No.
It won't be easy.
It won't be easy for either of them. I don't see this ending in the first like it did last time. I see this being more of a drawn-out fight.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
I think they both... It's hard to say they got a feel for each other, given that it only lasts 2 minutes, but I think Pitbull realizes how dangerous McKee is now.
Yeah.
I think McKee has the confidence now to know that he can step in there with the top guys. So I think
because of those two factors, it makes it a really good fight.
A really good fight. I mean, I'm much more interested in this fight than anything on the UFC card this weekend. I just think the young lion is gonna take over the old gazelle.
I've heard that line before. Lion gazelle. Yeah. We won't get into that, but I've heard that before from this young man. So, we agree on a lot of the same factors in this fight. We just think the outcome's going to come out just a little different.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what really happens.
Yeah, I think McKee, if you throw him in there with the top guys in the UFC, I really feel like he could hold his own. Like against Holloway, You know, he doesn't have the output that Holloway does, but
Right.
he's just lightning fast. And at his length and range, that's a hard combination to deal with. The fact that he also packs power in that on top of it, I mean, he's a scary fighter to be fighting in the featherweight division.
So, starting then from the beginning, you're going with Kretschmer?
Kretschmer.
Yeah.
I'm going with Aaron Pico.
Right.
Well, we'll get into that at the end.
Okay. I
when
thought.
we pick our 10 guys.
Oh, right. Okay.
This week it'll be a combination from Bellator and UFC.
Right.
So I forgot to mention on our recap the Jairzinho Rosenstrike and Marcin Zybura fight that we so heavily disagreed on last week got canceled. So I would have been 8-2 and he would have been 6-4.
If Rosenstrike had won.
Wish he would have. But moving into the UFC event
funny.
this weekend, got Sensei Luque versus Bilal Muhammad 2.
Yes.
You know, we're not going to talk about every fight this week.
No.
I'm going to kind of pick and choose through the most interesting ones. Start off with the Monkey King Jordan Levitt versus Trey Ogden.
Right.
Trey Ogden is going to be making his UFC debut here.
Mm-hmm.
Coming on with a 3 submission win streak, and the way he gets the submissions is uses his hands to set up his groundwork. He'll drop somebody and then snatch up a neck or, you know, hurt them, and he has good hands, and Jordan Levitt does not. It's basically my point here.
Yeah.
And Levitt is a one-dimensional submission or bust type of fighter, but his submission game is incredible. So Trey Ogden, I think, will have the wrestling advantage here, so he can kind of push where he wants this fight to go. But Jordan Levitt, I think if he gets taken down, he's not really going to fight it because he wants to be on the ground anyways.
True.
True. And his wrestling, his takedown percentage is only 31%.
Yeah.
So it's not like he can really force the action.
Right.
He does average 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, but at 31% takedown accuracy, he needs to set it up perfectly just to get him down. And saying all that, I'm leading Jordan Levitt here. I think that Trey Ogden is going to be a little overconfident following his 3-fight submission win streak, and if it goes down to the ground, I think he'll think he has the advantage there, which he very well might, but I think Jordan Levitt does have the advantage on the ground, and I think that he'll be able to wrap up a neck in the first or second round.
I don't really like Jordan Levitt. There's just something about him. I don't know if he seems.
You don't like guys that are happy when they're walking out.
I just don't like him, and maybe that's blinding me. I mean, I agree with everything that you said on both fighters. I think Ogden is going to come out the winner. And I don't know if that's because I truly believe in Ogden or because I just dislike Levitt, both of which is true. So I'm going to go with Ogden. Yeah.
So how do you think Ogden gets it done?
I think, like you said, he uses his hands, gets it down, and then ground and pound.
Okay. So moving on, this is going to be a good one. Chris Barnett versus Martin Boudet. As we all know, Chris Barnett coming off that spinning wheel kick finish of Gian Vellante.
And then the front flip afterwards. Who thought a guy that big could do a front flip?
I can't do a front flip, and that guy, 5'9", 265.
Flipped. It was crazy.
That was fucking ridiculous.
Like, what can he do, right?
No.
I was stunned when I saw the flip.
Man, that was one of my favorite moments as a UFC fan. It was so out of the blue. I mean, I'm sure people that have watched Chris Barnett over the years saw that coming, but
well, who saw the spinning kick? I mean,
not Gian Vellante, that's for sure.
Not from a guy that big. Yeah,
I mean,
that was surprising.
5'9" heavyweight, and he weighs in at the limit, 265.
Yeah. He's a big boy.
Yes.
And the way he spun that leg, I was impressed.
I was very impressed.
I haven't seen his other fights, but I was impressed.
He did get dominated by Ben Rothwell in his first UFC appearance.
But everybody's first one is always difficult. Can be.
But he does have an incredible 75-inch reach at 5'9", which somewhat makes up for it, given his opponent Martin Boudet stands 6'4" and only has a 77-inch reach. So even though he's 7 inches shorter, he only has a 2-inch reach disadvantage.
Well, I think because his chest is that wide, it makes it part of the 75 inches. So, yeah, he does have the reach. You know, I'm gonna go with Chris. I mean, I think
Boudet, he's making his UFC debut here, coming off a Contender Series win.
Yeah.
He has a tendency to get off to a slow start and kind of feel his opponents out, which I think could lead to Chris Barnett catching him here.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm really rooting for Beast Boy here, but I am going to go Martin Boudet with my official pick. I think Boudet will be able to clinch him up and just pressure him. Barnett does not deal with pressure fighters very well. I mean, as we saw in the Vellante fight, he likes his space so he can do his spinning attacks and his kind of lunging punches. And I don't think Boudet will afford him that space. I think he'll clinch him up and just
hold him against the cage.
Hold him against the cage, beat him in the clinch, maybe sprinkle in a couple takedowns here and there, but I don't know.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, in his Contender Series fight, it's a pretty incredible stat, 88% strike accuracy.
Wow.
He might feel it out for a little bit, but once he's kind of felt you out, he gets going in there, and I think he'll use the clinch to his advantage here.
Okay.
But I really do hope that Chris Barnett wins so that we can see another one of those goofy front flips from him.
Wow.
Next up, we have Drakkar Klose versus Brandon Jenkins. Drakkar Klose is coming in as like a minus 600 favorite here. Forgot to mention that Boudet is a minus 225 favorite on the last one.
Okay.
But Klose is minus 600. Some books you'll find him as high as minus 850 I've seen.
Oh.
Which is a bit weird for me. Yes, I think Klose is clearly the favorite here, but he hasn't fought in 2 years. He had a scheduled fight almost a year ago today, I believe. Today's the 16th. Or he fights on the 16th, and he had a fight scheduled for the 17th of April last year against Jeremy Stevens. And Stevens pushed him at the weigh-ins, which led to him getting a neck injury and a concussion. So he hasn't fought since then. But I do think Klose will have the advantage here. He's a great wrestler. And Jenkins, I believe he made his UFC debut last fight. Yeah, against Rongju. And I have not been impressed with Rongju whatsoever. His last fight against Bahamondes just got absolutely taken advantage of. And Rongju came in there and just knocked down Brandon Jenkins and finished him in round 3. I get that he was coming in on short notice, and he did look very comfortable in there before that. But given that fight, and that's all that I've really seen from Jenkins, I am going to have to lead with Klose here.
Same here.
So.
And, I mean, I know you don't put a lot of stock in rankings, but Klose is almost 100 positions.
Yeah, well, that's just the Tapology rankings. It's not official rankings or anything. Tapology, I wouldn't really base anything off Tapology rankings.
Yeah, but the gap is 34 to 132.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a... Yeah. If Klose loses this fight, it's a head scratcher. This is definitely like setting him up for a comeback fight, kind of. I do think he'll take advantage of Jenkins here. Jenkins is a tall 155er. He's got good length. Yeah. But, I mean, if you look at his strikes landed per minute, he lands about 2.8 strikes per minute, and he gets landed on 5.9 times per minute. That's over 2 times the striking differential.
Yeah. That's not good.
Although Klose isn't the most dangerous striker, he's more of a counter striker, waits for his opponent to attack. He does have heavy hands, and I think he will get the job done here.
I agree.
So
now we jump up to Clark and Knight.
Yes.
I've been going back and forth on this one. I'll let you go.
Okay, so William Knight's coming in here as a plus 150 dog. 11-3 versus 12-6 for Devin Clark. The UFC website is saying that it's a light heavyweight bout, but that's not true. It's a heavyweight bout.
It is.
I'll be really interested to see the scales for William Knight. I'm leaning towards him, but I want to see him on the scales. If he comes in at about 230 to 240, then I'm very confident in picking him. That's about his natural walk-around weight. That's what he cuts down to. As we saw in his last fight, he missed weight by 12 pounds. That's pretty unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, so he walks around about 230 to 240. So if he weighs in at that, I'll be very confident in him. But since it's a heavyweight bout, if he comes in at 255 or closer to the weight limit, it's just not going to be a good sign to me.
How so?
Well, I mean, when you have a light heavyweight bout, you're going to be
Yeah.
training a lot,
Right.
keeping your weight down, in the gym a lot.
Right.
And if he comes in at 255, 250, 260...
We're not sure how much he trained.
Yeah, well, not sure how much he trained, not sure how his cardio is going to translate, because he has decent, I wouldn't say good cardio, but decent cardio.
Well, that was my
his
concern
size.
even as a lightweight.
Well, yeah, as a light heavyweight, him
yeah.
cutting so much weight, I think
Yeah.
really depleted his cardio, and
Right.
not really his chin. We've never really seen him
No.
finished in the UFC. I mean, he lost to Grisham in his last bout, but I think I've seen videos of him on Instagram. Can't remember the exact weight, but it was literally like viral. He's lifting so much weight, and I know lifting weight is good, but it's not necessarily the best thing for MMA, because if he comes in at 255, he's just gonna have, it's not gonna be fat, it's gonna be huge muscles, and he's just gonna get drained. I mean,
Right.
you need a lot more blood pumping to those big muscles.
You need a lot of oxygen to feed those muscles.
Than Devin Clark. I mean, Devin Clark's more of a, I wouldn't say he's like lanky, but
Right.
he's definitely not as built as William Knight, and Knight will definitely have the size advantage here. I just want to see by how much.
Right. I agree. That's why I've been going back and forth.
Yeah.
I was Clark, and then I was thinking Knight, but then the things you said, you know, if he comes in at 255 or, God forbid, 260, I mean, I don't see how he wins with that much muscle.
Unless he just lays on top of Clark
Or-
and call that muscle. Like, I mean, he's a decent wrestler, but he's not like a Division I All-American or anything.
But I mean, I know the weigh-ins are tomorrow, but I think, I don't know. I think he's going to be heavy, so I'm going to go with Clark.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried about Clark. Given his last fight against Kutalaba, the gruesome injury he suffered, I mean, just knocked his teeth out of place, separated his gum.
I can't remember. How long ago was that?
I don't remember.
Even with a mouth guard.
So that was back in September of last year.
Yeah.
And before that, he hadn't fought since November of 2020.
Right.
I'm just not sure how he's going to come in, if his mental is going to be all there after that just brutal. He didn't get knocked out, but he just got beat in that fight against Kutalaba.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how he's going to come in, how his mental is going to be against a power puncher like William Knight.
This is, I mean...
Given that Clark is almost a minus 180 favorite, I'm leaning towards the underdog here, just because I believe it's a pick'em fight.
This is one of those fights where you usually say, well, I'm going to pick this fighter because, you know, he has these really good qualities that's going to make him win. For me on this fight, these two guys just have a lot of negatives, and it's hard to figure out what negative to me is going to outrank the other person's negative. So
I mean, they obviously both have positives. Clark is a good grappler, good wrestler, good chain wrestler.
Right, but it was only last summer that his mouth was basically almost torn off his face.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him against the higher level of competition, Kutalaba, Smith, Ryan Spann. Hasn't done so well, but against the lower ranked guys like Alonzo Menafield, Daquan Townsend, Darko Stosic, he's done well. So it's a really hard fight for me to pick.
Same here.
But I am leaning Knight,
and I'm leaning Clark.
Yeah.
Again. So
good to be a head-to-head fight. We'll see who comes out victorious in this one. It'll either be a great fight or a horrible fight where they both gas out because they're a heavyweight. I'm just not sure what to expect here. Next up, we have Pat Sabatini versus TJ Laramie here.
Yes.
Pat Sabatini 16-3 versus TJ Laramie at 12-4. Pat Sabatini is a huge betting favorite here.
What is it?
I've seen him as high as -450, -500.
Yeah.
Sabatini, one of the best grapplers in the UFC. I shouldn't say grappler, just one of the best submission guys in the UFC. I mean, obviously Ryan Hall's a featherweight, so he can't be the best there, but number 2, number 3, he's right up there.
Yeah.
And
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I'm just curious why they... I'm just wondering if Laramie has something that we don't know.
Well, Laramie
But,
is a kickboxer. Made his UFC debut against Derek Minner and got choked out in 58 seconds. Didn't land a single strike. He just looks like he should be fighting at flyweight, to be honest. I mean, not flyweight, at least bantamweight. Standing 5'5" in the 145-pound division. It's not exactly a commonplace in modern MMA. I just don't see him doing too well here against Sabatini. He just got choked out in less than a minute in his first UFC fight, and Sabatini is a masterful submission guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as Sabatini doesn't try and come out and strike with him, which Laramie could catch him if that happens, but I just don't see it happening. I think Sabatini knows the game plan, and he will execute on it, get it to the ground, and secure a submission in either round 1 or round 2. So that's what I'm going with here.
Sounds good.
You got a pick on this one? No.
No, I mean, I have a feeling, and I'm going to go against the current here. I'm not going to bet on this fight, mainly because the odds are not conducive to betting. But I'm going to go against the current in that, maybe Laramie will win. He probably won't, but maybe I just have this hope. Otherwise, because I think him fighting at this weight is I agree with you, is a little odd. So
he just doesn't look like he matches up with the guys he fights with physically.
Right, so I'm like, maybe there's something I'm missing here. So if he loses, then that just proves us right that there's something really weird why he's fighting at this weight at such at 5'5". So, I'd like to see him win to say, hey, a 5'5" guy can do this. So, we'll see.
Doing it for the short guys out there.
Ooh, burn. Short
Next
betting.
up, we have Miguel Baeza versus Andre Fiallo. This is going to be a banger. This is the first fight that I'm truly excited for on this card, other than the Chris Barnett Beast Boy fight.
Right.
Baeza coming off the knockout loss against Kalen Chaos Williams, and Fiallo coming off his UFC debut against Michel Pereira, in which he took some hard shots and just rolled with it, took the L, but really impressed me there. Bellator veteran, been around, throws hard hands, great chin.
I think most people are going with Baeza. But I think I like Fiallo.
I really like Fiallo in this fight, given the fact that his chin is just miles above Baeza, in my opinion. Baeza, he's been dropped before but never finished. But that last fight against Chaos Williams, I know he hits really hard.
Yeah.
But he just flopped like a sack of potatoes when he got hit. It was not a pretty sight.
It wasn't.
And Baeza has a tendency to keep his hands low, which when combined with not a great chin, is just not
asking
a recipe
for trouble.
Yeah, not a recipe for success here against Fiallo. And Baeza is slick when he strikes, but I don't know if he's slick enough to avoid the heavy shots from Fiallo here. I think if Fiallo can land just 1 or 2 heavy shots, that could be all it takes.
And Baeza, what fight was that? I was just not impressed. God, which one?
Ponzinibbio?
Maybe it was that. It was just, he got nailed and acted like he acted like he didn't even belong in the ring. It's just weird.
Yeah.
And so that was the first fight I actually saw him in, and I was like, I mean, because in the intro, everyone looked like they were so ready for this, and he has the stature of a good MMA fighter, and then it just, went downhill, and I wasn't impressed at all.
Yeah.
So,
I think this fight will take place on the feet.
yeah.
Neither one of them really looks to take it to the ground, and they both have a negative striking differential. But, I mean, Fialho came in on short notice against Michel Pereira, a very, very good welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
A lot better than Baeza, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that Fialho can handle his business here in his second UFC fight and probably knock Baeza out.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it happen with Baeza, so I have no doubt that can
And a lot of
happen.
times, the first time that you get knocked out, it's kind of a trend. First time your chin gives out, it's just going to give out that much easier the second time.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Same thing with getting slapped on the short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The chin thing is very, very true.
Moving on to the co-main event, bit of a weird one here. We have Caio Borralho versus
Good luck saying that.
Gadzi Omagadziev.
Gadzi. We'll just say Gadzi.
Gadzi, yeah. So they're both coming off the Contender Series. Borralho fought twice on the Contender Series, winning a decision once, and I believe it was a knockout the other time in round one. I know it was a round one finish. Yeah, KO in 1 minute against Jesse Murray.
Yeah.
Man, this is a tough one to pick given that it's a co-main event and neither one of them has UFC experience. They both have great records. I like Borralho too.
Yeah.
Borralho's coming in 10-1. Gadzi is 13-0.
Yeah.
I've been seeing some weird things with Gadzi's reach, so I'm not really sure which one it is. Tapology has him listed with a 66-inch reach, which, if that's true, is really, really weird for a guy that's 6'1".
That is weird.
But the UFC has him listed with the 71-inch reach.
Which is a little bit more normal, but still less than...
still less than Borralho. And Borralho only stands 5'10", but he has a 75-inch reach. He's built like a Mack truck.
Yeah, he is.
I watched his grappling he had a grappling event against Jailton Almeida, who, if you remember Jailton Almeida against Danilo Marquez.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Jailton is just a smasher, And Borralho, he lost that, but he lost because he escaped the submission slower than Jailton. It went into overtime. I mean, it was a draw in the regular time. That really impressed me, given that Jailton's a 205er, and Caio's kind of a shorter 185er.
Right.
So I think that although Gadzi is a takedown guy, I think Borralho will be able to stuff the takedowns. I really do believe he has the advantage on the feet. With his reach, and says Borralho's a southpaw, but he comes up with this like karate stance. He says he never fought karate, but it looks like he's been fighting karate his whole life, the way that he plods around, and he has a great striking differential.
I definitely want to see this match.
Yeah, I'm very interested in this, given that they both don't have UFC experience.
Right.
They obviously think a lot of them to put them in the co-main event spot.
Yeah.
Borralho does have a 100% takedown defense in his Contender Series fights, and Gadzi has a 100% takedown accuracy.
So that should be very interesting.
Very, very interesting to see what will happen here. I think if Caio can stuff one or two of the takedowns early and really get it in Gadzi's head that this is not going to be an easy run through like his Contender Series win was.
Right.
Could really put some doubt in his mind maybe, and I really like Borralho. As a fighter, I liked his Contender Series fights. I liked his interviews on the Contender Series. I'm just a fan, so I'm rooting for him here, and I do believe he'll pick up the win.
I agree with you.
I'm not sure exactly how, given the fact that we haven't seen Gadzi lose. We don't really know if he has a chin issue, don't know.
But it's just hard to see Borralho lose, even though the other guy, even though Gadzi hasn't lost either.
Combined, they're 23-1.
Yeah,
it's
pick 'em.
Yeah, and the odds have it pretty much a pick 'em with Gadzi the slight favorite here.
Oh, okay.
Which makes me want to pick Borralho.
And this is where our agreement ends.
I can't believe this. Vicente Luque versus Bilal Muhammad. This isn't the first time they fought, guys.
It is not.
Luque knocked him out in round 1 in a minute last time. It was 6 years ago.
Yeah. And was it a knockout or a push out? It was hard. It didn't even look like he barely touched him.
That's just because Luque has fucking heavy fists.
I guess. Or somebody was.
It was a check left hook. And
it was.
That's Luque's best weapon. So
yeah.
To say that it didn't look like much of a hit, it's just even more credit to Luque.
Yeah.
That's his straight left and his check left hook. Just crazy. And then he switches southpaw. It's weird. I heard Dan Hardy say this. I think he's left-footed and right-handed. Because Dan Hardy was the same way.
Oh.
And so when he wants to kick, when you see him switch southpaw, he's always going for that left kick.
Okay.
And he still has good hands from the southpaw, but really good check left hook from the orthodox stance.
Mm-hmm.
And it says he's orthodox, and it also says Bilal's orthodox, but they both switch a lot.
Yeah.
And Belal has obviously gotten a lot better since that Luque loss.
And he's gotten heavier and more muscular.
I think there's a reason for that. I think Belal might be on the roids here.
On the juice, huh? Drinking some
Went
juice.
back and watched some of his old fights, and he just looks so much different than he did back then.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he got muscular. It's not really...
It's not my place to say.
Right.
I'm sure they're getting tested, but there are definitely ways to cheat the system. But either way, I like Luque in this fight.
He does.
I think Luque is going to have the clear advantage on the feet.
There are many, many things to like about Luque overall as a fighter.
Yeah.
And, and I like Luque, but I just think Muhammad is going to sit, just lay on him for... it's hard to believe he'll do it for 5 rounds.
We saw in Luque's last fight against Chiesa.
Yeah.
Chiesa tried that.
He
got choked out. Chiesa had Luque exactly where he wanted him in a rear naked choke, multiple attempts, got a crazy face crank on him.
I mean, this is one of these fights where I actually want Luque to win. I do. I want him to win. But I just feel somehow Muhammad's going to pull this out. And he's on this... Everybody in the organization is on this Belal Muhammad, ride and think he's best thing since sliced bread.
I don't think anybody thinks Belal Muhammad is the best thing since sliced bread except for Belal Muhammad. I mean...
Well, maybe it was the on-air personalities. Yeah. From DC to Bing.
Yeah, and I heard Belal Muhammad in his pre-fight presser this week say that he's the only one in the welterweight division that can take Hamzat.
Ooh.
And if Colby Covington and Hamzat don't fight, this is actually a fight that I think could be Hamzat's next fight, the winner of this fight. I would really love to see Luque versus Hamzat.
Yeah.
I think that would just be an incredible fight. Yeah. But Luque has had 2 rematches before, and he won both of them. Against Hyder Hassan and Nico Price.
After the losses, he had rematches? Or
he beat Price both times.
Right.
And he lost to Hyder Hassan in the Ultimate Fighter season. And then beat him in his second UFC fight.
Okay.
So he has shown that he can take what he learned in the first fight and improve upon it. Mm-hmm. And while that's going to be hard to do here, to improve upon a 1.5-minute knockout, I don't think that'll necessarily happen again because Belal since then has played it a lot more safe. As we saw in the Wonderboy fight.
Yeah, he played it really safe.
Yeah, clear domination from Muhammad, but at the end of the fight, Wonderboy could have fought again. It was not like he hurt him. It's not like
he didn't hurt him at all.
Went for really any submissions. He had his back taken and...
It would be interesting to see how many strikes he actually had because I don't remember many.
No, it was a very, very boring fight to watch. Muhammad landed 58 strikes, even though he had 7 takedowns and had complete control of him the whole time.
Yeah.
Less than 20 strikes per round.
Yeah.
He's been on a good streak, but it's mostly against guys with no name. Like Chancellor Contre, Takashi Sato, Curtis Millender, Lyman Good, Diego Lima... 42-year-old Damian Maia, and then Stephen Thompson.
Right.
Would have been very interesting to see
The Leon
Edwards, yes. I really wish that had happened. I mean, it did happen, but it stopped because Muhammad got poked in the eye.
That was a weird.
Very anticlimactic.
Really, yeah.
Main event. That's the only time that we've really seen either of them in a main event, I believe.
Yeah.
So, don't really know how their stamina is going to be for 5 rounds. I do think Bilal has the edge with the stamina, but I think Luque can get it done before it gets to that point.
Well, the reason why I think Muhammad could win here is because I think, as saw in the Wonder Boy fight, he actually excels on the ground as the rounds go deeper. And if that's where Luque is going to start losing some of his mojo, then that could play well for Muhammad.
Yes, I think no matter what happens, I think Luque will get the first round.
Yeah.
And Muhammad will have to battle back from a slow start. Well, not necessarily a slow start, just a fast start from.
But if I have to place a bet on rounds, I think Muhammad definitely takes 4 and 5 and probably 3.
If it gets there, which I don't think it will, because Luque is just a finisher, man.
Yeah.
I mean, out of his...
It'll be interesting to see.
I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 UFC wins. He has 13 finishes.
That's 90-some%.
Yeah, and they're not all by knockout, as we saw with the Chiesa fight. Right. Chiesa took him down, just like Bilal is going to want to, and survived and then choked him out on the ground.
Yeah.
I think we could see something similar play out here where Bilal thinks he has the advantage on the ground, but really he might not. And he does like to play it very safe, and I think that could backfire here because Luque loves to take risks. I mean, he's definitely not afraid to pull off some crazy things. And
no, I agree. So it will be an interesting match.
So, looking back on it, my 10 fighters that I'm going to pick this week are Vicente Luque, Caio Baralho, Andre Fiallo, Myra Buena Silva, Pat Sabatini, William Knight, so that's 6, Jakar Close, that's 7, and then I'm going to go with AJ McKee, Aaron Pico, and Corey Anderson for my 10.
Oh, okay.
Hoping to build off last week's 7-2 record. Hopefully none of these fights get canceled at the last minute like last week. It seems to be a trend, though, that 1 or 2 of these fights gets canceled right at the last minute.
I guess I'm going to go with Muhammad Barrio, just like you. Where are we here? I'm gonna, give caution to the wind and go with Laramie there. And Clark. I know. I'm gonna go with Close.
That's a pretty obvious one.
It is. I'm gonna go with Chris, big boy.
I really hope Chris Barnett wins. Man, I would love to see Chris Barnett make a push for the heavyweight title. Could you guys just imagine that?
And then I'm going to go with, obviously, the Pit Bull. And then I am going to go with Nemkov.
Okay, so you decided on Nemkov here?
I did.
Okay. So
Pico's going to win. I don't even have to go with Pico because he's just going to win. There's no point.
Well, might as well just take the free win then.
I guess, but I want to see what's down here further. I still want to do Lombardo, so I'm going to make that 10. And then, I guess I will make Pico my 9. Or maybe I'll make Johnson my 9.
Okay.
I'll be more competitive there.
Okay.
So that's what it looks like for me for this weekend.
Those are our 10 picks for the weekend. Do you have one lock of the week? Try to not choose a Aaron Pico minus 900 as your lock.
No, my lock is going to be Pitbull. I'm going with the Pitbull.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my lock this week is going to be... I really like Andre Fiallo as an underdog here against Miguel Baeza. I think that's going to be my lock of the week. Even though he's an underdog, I really just don't like Baez's chin. Could be a one-time thing, but
I don't disagree with
so.
you. I don't disagree with you. So.
Until next time.
Yep.
Peace.